We are at the Blackjack battlefield this week. That's near Wellsville, Kansas, and it is a blackjack battlefield and a nature park. And this was a bleeding Kansas battle, pre-Civil War battle that included John Brown, and it lasted 3 hours. It was on June 2nd, 1856, and there is a walking trail with 7 stops. So we're gonna go check every one of those stops out, and then at the very end, we're gonna go check out that house. So, all right, let's get going. Okay, so we are right here, and we're gonna follow this walking trail over this bridge, and we're gonna go up here. We're gonna start at number 1. There are 7 stops, and we're gonna start at number 1 up there. Those are the Santa Fe ruts. Not the same Santa Fe ruts that we saw in a previous video, but new ones apparently. So we're gonna go check those out. I'm just loving how loud all these birds are. This is great. I am a little nervous to go over this bridge. I guess it's okay. Woo, we made it. We are coming into this grove here, and this is where it all started. The Battle of Blackjack was fought on June 2nd, 1856, and it was between Henry Clay Pate and Abolitionist John Brown. Pate was the leader of a militia called Shannon's Sharpshooters, and this was a pro-slavery band of men who were on their way to Osawatomie to capture John Brown, and they were acting under U.S. Marshal's orders. John Brown was wanted for leading a raid on a pro-slavery settlement in Kansas known as the Pottawatomie Creek Massacre, and 5 men and boys were killed. That raid was in retaliation for a pro-slavery raid on Lawrence in May. In 1856, we are just at the beginning of what they call Bleeding Kansas, and that was a conflict between free state abolitionists and pro-slavery border ruffians. Those are trees that are planted in a row on purpose. So here's another row. Whoa. And I know the guy who bought this property and farmed it, he had sugar maples, and so maybe that's what these are. Maybe these are sugar maples. I don't know. I am not a tree person. I have no idea. But these are definitely planted all in a row. These weren't here naturally. Ugh. This battlefield is a National Historic Landmark and is located in Douglas County, Kansas, and is part of the Freedom Frontier National Heritage Area, and we're about 45 miles southwest of Kansas City. Oh my goodness. Look at the size of that anthill, and I almost walked in it. I gotta pay attention. According to Pate, he was camped here, and this was known as Blackjack Springs, and he had about 25 men. Once they realized John Brown had come to them, they formed a line with their wagons just east of the creek on the high ground, believing this to be a good position. However, Pate was forced to abandon his position early in the fight after 5 of his men were wounded. Alright, so there you can see that row so clearly. this way. Let's see this one. I just think that's neat. You know, and at one point, this was just a park where you could come and grill. I don't know when that was, but it's a little dilapidated now. So this is definitely high ground. So this is where Pate's men would have been encamped. And that is the creek down there. What's the name of this creek? I don't know. I don't know what the name of this, Captain's Creek. Okay, the name of that creek down there is Captain's Creek. All right, also up here, very interesting. Okay, if you see over there, in that area right there, that is where the Santa Fe trail ruts are. And if you saw my video about that, those were really impressive. Those are like 4.5 feet deep. I mean, they're impressive. You should go watch it. I'll put a link right here so you can go check that out if you want to. But let's go check out this marker. Sorry, there's my keys. Jingling. I guess I should get on the trail. Yeah, as we get closer up here, you can see that is where those ruts are. All right. This says the Battle of Blackjack, first battle between free and slave states, fought on these grounds June 2nd, 1856. This is number 1, and this is marking the Santa Fe Trail. So that marker, according to the little pamphlet I got, is marking the Santa Fe Trail. So we know the ruts are right up there. So yeah, it's pretty close to here. And this area right here was used for camping. So this was a known campground on the Santa Fe Trail. I mean, you just didn't go and just stop in the middle of the trail. You found a nice little area, probably next to a creek, and it was probably very well established. And this was one of those areas. And I can kind of see why. There's a creek down there. This is sort of flat area. All right, there you can see the house, and there's the creek that runs around there, and there's the bridge we're gonna go over, the one we came from down there, just so you're oriented to where we are. Okay, we're gonna go check this bridge out and head on over to another marker and see what it can tell us. Okay, this bridge looks much better. It looks sturdy. And we're walking over Captain's Creek. That's the east branch. And just to get your bearings, you can barely see the house up there through all that vegetation. So that's kind of the area that we came from. And now we're going to go up this little path, and the main battlefield should come into view. And then we'll go find marker number 3. Just on the other side of this battlefield is the west branch of Captain's Creek, and it's also known as Grindstone Creek, which is the creek that we saw when we were at the Santa Fe Trail Ruts just down the street. Now, the east branch of the creek, that's off to our right, and the west branch is off to our left, and they join just ahead, and that's marker number 3, Captain's Creek. John Brown's forces were situated along the west branch, and Pate's forces were along the east branch, and the land between the two branches was the main battlefield. But not all the fighting took place on the battlefield. Some of the fighting occurred in these low-lying creek beds. And we know the Santa Fe Trail came through here, and apparently the ruts provided cover for both sides. And I know our pamphlet says that there are wagon ruts up there at number 1, but I didn't see any. It could be just too overgrown at this point. I love creeks. I loved playing in creeks when I was a little girl, and I would probably continue to play in creeks if I had access. Okay, so we're going to come up this path, and this is going to take us to the north of the battlefield. And as you can see, we came up that little path, and we are headed to marker number 4. Yeah, so that's the battlefield right behind the house, because right over here is the east branch, and we're going to go over here and see the west branch. I don't know if you can see it down there or not, but there it is. So that is the main battlefield. All right, let's trudge on this trail. It is just so pretty right here, and calm and quiet, except for those crows. It is just very peaceful. All right, we are coming on to marker number 4, which was John Brown's position. So Pate's men were after John Brown for the Pottawatomie Creek Massacre, and he had been avoiding populated areas. He and his men were in the town of Prairie City, which is about 4 miles west of here, and a few of Pate's men had left their camp at Blackjack and went to raid Prairie City. When they arrived, they were surprised to find the Free State militia there, and several of them were captured. After questioning them, Brown devised an attack on Pate's camp. He waited until dark before he started moving towards Blackjack. He wanted to arrive in the dark of night, so he was in position before light. However, the dark night and rough terrain prevented him from arriving until near dawn, and one of Pate's men saw them coming and fired on them. And with this, the Battle of Blackjack began just before sunrise on June 2nd, 1856. And Brown used the natural features of the land to his advantage during the battle, moving the Free State men down into the western creek, where the sloping grounds provided cover from Pate's fire. Yes, and you can see that because it is definitely down in a valley. All right, let's go check out the other markers. So we're coming up, after we get out of this little wooded area, we're gonna be coming up on the battlefield, the main battlefield. Okay, this is at the top of the battlefield, and you can see there is the house. That house wasn't here. The house was built in 1890, but we'll get to that here in a minute. We are looking for number 5. Oh, we found it. Okay, so number 5. Let's see what it says on our handy dandy pamphlet. All right, it says, killing the horses and mules. To force Pate's hand and prevent him from escaping, John Brown ordered 2 of his men to shoot Pate's horses and mules. This action, combined with Pate's fear that he would be captured deep inside enemy territory, influenced his decision to seek a truce. Oh, that's sad. He killed the horses. So here's number 6 on the map, and that is looking right over the battlefield. Make this a little bit bigger. Oh, there we go. How's that? Frederick Brown was John Brown's youngest son in Kansas. He suffered from debilitating headaches and possibly seizures, and he had a natural love for animals. Brown held him back from the battle and had him guard the Free State horses. In several accounts of the battle, upon hearing Pate's horses and mules being shot, Frederick mounted a horse and rode to the high ground on the southern edge of the battlefield. Waving his saber over his head, he shouted, "Father, we have them surrounded and we have cut off their lines of communication," before riding off. Although at the time it was only a bluff, Pate feared Frederick was the vanguard of Free State reinforcements from Lawrence, and the action seemed to help force Pate's hand. And Frederick was killed just a few months later at the Battle of Osawatomie. All right, I'm gonna go down here. Oh no, we're gonna go around. I'm not walking through all this grass. My feet are sopping wet because of all the dew. It's kind of morning. It's 9 o'clock and it's still dew all over the place and all over my feet. I'm really enjoying this adventure today. You know, I do this every week. I get out and I go find history. So if you're enjoying this video, consider liking and subscribing and all that YouTube-y stuff. I try to get my videos out on Fridays or Saturdays, and we have an awfully big adventure coming up in July that I cannot wait to share with you. Okay, and then right down there, that is how we would go to where John Brown's men were. That's the part of the West Creek of Captain's Creek. And that is the battlefield. You know, in the beginning of this video, I was talking about the year 1856 not being a very good year here in Kansas. Kansas had only been opened as a territory for 2 years, and there was a big fight over whether Kansas would be admitted to the Union as a free or a slave state. And it did seem to escalate in 1856. And this battle in June would not be the end of it. If you're interested in learning about how Kansas became a state, I will leave a link at the end of this video. So that down there is John Brown's position. That's where he was. And then we're going to swing around here to the battlefield. And this is number 7, which is where Pate surrendered. Pate sent 2 men with a white flag to discuss terms of a truce, but John Brown refused to talk terms with anyone except the captain of the opposing force. Pate then approached and stated his demands, not knowing at this time he was facing John Brown. Brown, angered by Pate's demands, pointed his pistol at Pate, threatening to shoot him and declaring him a prisoner. Pate stated strongly that this violated the rules of governing warfare, arguing that he could not be taken prisoner under a flag of truce. However, upon observing Brown's armed men in the tall grass around him, knowing if he tried to run he would be shot, Pate was forced to submit. Pate told his men to surrender their arms, thus ending the 3-hour battle. Once Pate was taken prisoner, Brown and his men took them to a camp on Middle Ottawa Creek near Prairie City. There they were all eventually released by the U.S. Dragoons led by Colonel Edwin V. Sumner and Lieutenant J.E.B. Stewart. Pate was later quoted as saying, "I went to take Old Brown and Old Brown took me." It is stinking hot today, let me tell you. It is like 9 o'clock in the morning, but it is so hot and I'm dying here. But this was worth it because this was really cool. And I met a guy who was up here walking his dogs when I first got on the trail, and he was telling me that they're doing a whole bunch of renovations, that they're putting some money into it, that they're going to make a better interpretive trail. There's a barn that they're going to reconstruct, and then they are going to renovate that house, which will be really cool. But for right now, I want to just go see what we can see in this house. It's closed, but you know, we're going to look through windows. This is the Robert Hall Pearson farm, and it overlooks the battlefield, but it wasn't here during the battle. This house was built in 1890, and Pearson fought with Brown at the Battle of Blackjack. That is a proper farmhouse. Let's go see what we can see. Well, There is definitely not too much to see in there. Looks like maybe 2 front rooms, a back room, a hallway. So couldn't see much through that window, and I can't get over there because of all that, whatever that is, weeds, brush, whatever. But let's go this side of the house. Let's go check up this side. This looks like a pretty sturdy building, you know. Looks like it's very, very well kept. Okay, so a door. That looks pretty stinking old. And another door. And then that is into that front room that we saw. All right, let's go see what we can see in this window. I can't really see, but it just looks like a room. And then off to the right is a door that goes into another room, and off to the left looks like goes into a hallway. Pearson bought this land, including the battlefield, and he established a prosperous farm on this prairie, and he experimented with specialty crops and livestock, and this is believed to be the only site in Kansas where maple sugar was produced. I wonder if those trees that we saw up by where Pate was encamped, I wonder if those were maple trees. I don't know. I like this side of the house better because look how cute that is. Look at that. I much like that so much better. Oh, it's very clear that they use this building because they've got this whole set up here about the Battle of Blackjack and John Brown and everything. Oh, that is cool. I wish I could go in there and read that. Oh my. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm glad that I'm here now before it gets too much worse. Do you see that? Look at that. What is that? There's like 5 million wasp nests. I hate wasps. I hate them. I hate them so much. Oh, that's horrible. Oh my goodness. Well, that is it for today. I hope you found this place interesting. I did, and I'm definitely going to be back once they get all the renovations done. You know, I work out of my house. I work from home Monday through Friday, and I'm stuck inside all week. So on the weekends, I get out, and my hobby is to come to historical sites, and I like to bring you guys with me. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you have any comments, any suggestions, just please leave them in the comments below. I really appreciate it. Well, on to the next place, and I will see you guys next week. Bye now. For more information about the Blackjack Battlefield, visit www.blackjackbattlefield.org.